Hi, cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So, I came across this video and I thought I'd share it with you all because all these are actually happening, and some people are not saying anything about it. And it's about the white mom with biracial kids. Most biracial kids actually came out to say or to talk about how harmful it is to have a white mom. And their points are really very valid. Number one is that most of them actually got married not because they wanted a biracial kid or something, but because of fetishization, like, how they fetishize black men and really want to be with black men. And most of them, when they have the kid, they have not even deconstruct their racism and that they've done their anti-blackness work. So, and also, most of them, their family members actually do not want to see black people. And some of them also do not want biracial kids. So you personally knew or you know that your family do not want anything like that. But because of what you have planned or the fetishization and all that, they still go ahead to have biracial kids that they end up not taking care of, right? And then when the child is grown, they usually have identity crisis, which is not super great because I don't know how you really do want to have a biracial child and you never took your time to know how to make their hair, or then you start calling them the N word. Are you for real? Let's get into this.
Good afternoon, TikTok. So, have you all been noticing this trend of biracial women, black women, um, using this sound in order to express the trauma that they have felt being raised by racist white mothers? Well, a couple of those videos have shown up on my For You. And I've gone to the comments, just to see what people have to say about it. Because this is something that really does fascinate me. I'm always fascinated to know why it is people do the things that they do. And of course, in the comments, they are being gaslit by racist white people who don't want to be reminded of their racism. I mean, I understand why racist white women have sexual relations with black men. I get that. I know that it is a fetish. And I know that a lot of them are compelled to do so because of their disdain, dislike, or hatred for black women. And I also know that these particular white women like for their black partners, intimate partners, to be self-loathing. But what I don't understand is why have a kid? Why bring children into it? The only thing that a racist white woman is capable of doing for any black child that she gives birth to is mess them up. I mean, from the rooter to the tutor. I mean, mess them up, but good. And that's why so many of them are so confused. They have internalized their racist mother's ideologies and oftentimes share them. I don't think that these racist white women are as hard on their black sons as they are on their white daughters. I think this because they fetishize black men. And I also think this because of patriarchy, just a little bit. Because black men are still men. Even though white women are higher on that patriarchy than black men are, there are still a lot of women, white women included, who feel like men come before women. And because of this belief, they are going to have more value for their black sons than they are their black daughters. Not to mention that black women are the thing that they hate. And I think that these black girls that they are creating and raising feel that with every fiber of their being. They are telling us how their racist white mothers are referring to them as the N word with a hard R, as well as all other black people. And these racist white mothers are raising their children through the lens of a racist white person. But when these children see themselves in the mirror, they see blackness. And the mothers are not nurturing that part of them, nor are they protecting it and defending it because they hate it. They are not protecting them from their racist families. They are not protecting them from a racist society. And if and when they break up with the father, they are not protecting them from racist partners. These children grow up confused and hurt and damaged. Do y'all remember that biracial lady that was gaslighting the entirety of the black community on TikTok about a year or two ago? She was raised by a racist white mother, and we all knew it. We can always tell. And remember how she kept saying how black women hated her. She had no community with black women. She just kept gaslighting black women. And here's the thing, she didn't lie. She didn't have any community with black women, and black women didn't like her. But what it was she was not owning is the truth of why that is. And that's because black women, who are the most discerning beings on this planet, knew that she was racist and that she had internalized her racist white mother's ideologies. And those ideologies are harmful to black people. And black people didn't want her around them being harmful. And that's why the black people that she was attempting to connect with, in order to connect with that part of her, were in essence rejecting her. That's why. It is always a huge red flag for me when white women have mixed race children and they have no black community outside of the dad, like no black bonds with no bonds with black women, just no one in their community, no one in their circle is black. These are the same kinds of white women that when they don't know how to manage their children, oftentimes feel entitled to the help and assistance of black women, or free labor simply because they had black children. They do not understand that it takes more than a fetish to access the black community. But whatever it is, at the end of the day, just why bring children into it? Why bring babies into it? Why bring innocence into this? Is it that you love the aesthetic? Or is it that you just want your own black person to torture? Why do that to someone? Particularly your own flesh and blood. Y'all are torturing your children and you need to be stopped.
Being raised by a white mother left me very ignorant, but also anti-black for many years of my life. And that's not something like I say with pride at all. I say it with a lot of shame. Now, I know that because of how I was raised, and because my dad didn't do his job as a black man, being married to a white woman, that I guess it wasn't my fault as a kid. But the more work that I'm doing, and the more, I don't know, I stepped away from my mother, the more that I am just sad, because I see all these ways that I was just being me. I was just being the black biracial daughter that she had, but she made me shrink myself and made me fit into the spaces she wanted me to fit into, so that she was comfortable and so that I made everybody else comfortable. And one of those things was not wearing a bonnet outside of the house or anything like that. I remember we would go to the stores and stuff, and if she would see especially a black woman with her bonnet on, she would say such awful things that I'm not going to repeat. And I remember as a kid never understanding what's the problem with that, what is the problem. But the more that her hate and ignorance was said to me, the more that when I would go out and I would see a black woman or a person of color with a bonnet on, I would think why are you coming out of the house like that? That's not appropriate. The more that I wear and protect my hair in and outside of the home, the more my curls stay good and stay healthy, not good, stay healthy. And that there's no shame. There's no shame. And there's nobody coming up to me saying anything. There's nobody looking at me funny. It was just my mom's own internal hatred for women of color, and the fact that she felt so confident to and proud to say those things around her biracial daughters that influenced my brain to think that it was an issue when it wasn't an issue. And I always knew it was an issue. But when your mother that raises you continues to be so toxic, I guess your brain starts to change. But it like makes me so sad because I spent so many years not protecting my hair outside of the home because of what my mother said, and allowed myself to internalize that instead of just being proud of who I was and learning from other women of color on how to protect my hair.
Parents of biracial kids to listen in real quick. I'm gonna give you fair warning, this might be an uncomfortable conversation, but it's necessary. A lot of y'all's kids have complexes and identity issues, and it's not because they have a white parent. It's because a lot of y'all chose to have biracial kids before you unpacked your internalized racism and anti-blackness. It's because a lot of y'all have biracial children without learning enough about the black experience to guide your child through a black experience, to guide them through a world that is inherently anti-black. Cutting off your racist family members is not all it takes to raise a biracial kid. In fact, that doesn't even come close to the bare minimum. You can have the best intentions for your children while still causing them collective harm. And you know, I first noticed this when my daughter was an infant and I started joining Facebook groups for parents of biracial kids. These white moms would have the best intentions, yet end up on Facebook crying about how their child was saying they didn't want to be black and they hated being black. And because these parents did not take the time to educate themselves whatsoever on systemic racism and anti-blackness on a level that they would be able to appropriately raise a biracial child, they were on the internet crying for help instead of helping their kid. You cannot shield your child from experiencing anti-blackness in the world, but you can equip them to deal with it. I get told pretty frequently that my daughter will be mistaken for a black mom biracial. Now I'm going to explain to you why. First and foremost, she is not raised in an anti-black environment. A lot of black men, white women relationships are inherently anti-black due to the fact that the relationship is based on fetishization and the hatred of black women instead of mutual love. The way that I look at it, the world is constantly going to be hurling anti-blackness at my child. And instead of acting like it does not exist, I have been equipping my child since birth to be able to handle said anti-blackness through radical self-love and positive identity. My child has at a young age told me that she wanted to be white to match her family. Right then and there, we had a very long conversation about anti-blackness and racism at 4 years old, and how her blackness was the most beautiful part of her. She made a comment one time about her baby doll, her black baby with coily hair, being ugly. Again, we had a long discussion about colorism, texturism, and racism. After that day, that baby did not leave her hip. You cannot just be not teaching your kid to be anti-black. You have to be preparing them for an anti-black world. You have to ensure that you are not feeding your child a complex towards other black people, that you're showing them how to cherish and uplift their community. See, biracial kids with white parents can be raised to be pro-black, but many aren't. And that is because their environment and their role models are not pro-black. If you don't want your child to have identity issues, it starts with you. It is wholeheartedly possible for you to educate yourself. A lot of y'all simply choose not to.
As a biracial child who was born into a family where they weren't really ready to have mixed or black kids, I have a few questions for you, so listen in. 1. Do your parents think of your mixed kids as an exception to the rule about black people? You know, where they actually hate other black people, look down on other black people, don't see them as full people, and your kids are the exception to the rule, but they're actually still racist? 2, have you set an expectation throughout your entire extended family that they need to have a pro-black politic to both support your partner and your children? 3, have you set the expectation that your entire family needs to have a pro-black politic because that is really integral to the fact that now you have black people in your bloodline? Like, have you done that yet? 4, do you put all the expectation and onus of protecting your kids on your black partner? And 5, did you think that simply birthing mixed kids made you an ally to them? Figure out your answer to these questions before you make your little TikToks.
Hey, black moms, I got you for a minute. Sit this one out. Hey, yo, white moms, stop having biracial kids. You is funny as fuck to run your mouth all over this app talking about that. Knee slapper, can we talk about how my granddaddy disowned my mom after she had the first of us? Can we talk about how my own mother called me racist towards white people because of Breonna Taylor? At least the black mother would have known how to do my hair properly and given a shit. I am definitely not the prize to the skin fetish you had with my father. You know, at least the black mother would not have invalidated any experiences I had in school with being bullied for my skin color or for looking the way I look. I feel like my black mama would have come up and beat a fourth grader's ass when they called me the N-word. Stop worrying about black moms. They are not failing with the biracial kids as much as you are, okay?
So this is all I got from this video, and it's really very sad that most women actually got married out of criticizing, criticizing a man or a black man, most especially, and that is where the problem starts, because some of them are not ready or did not prepare their mind on what will happen, the things the child will experience when she is born, and all that. Then, moving forward, your child is born and you find out that your child is quite different from every other person, or your family says that she is very different from every other person around, and that is where the problem starts. And most of them that got married to people that look like me knew very much how rich disease most of their families are, or how they do not want anybody that is not in their family, and they still go around or still go out of their way to have biracial kids. And then the kid starts having identity problem. Now, not just only having identity problem, because it takes like a whole lot to take care of a biracial child, especially starting from her hair and knowing that, she is going to take some features from the father and also from you, but most times, most especially the father. And because you are not comfortable or you do not like them that much, especially they're women, most women do not like black women, right? And so when the kids, a girl child, come in that form, it's usually a problem, because they are also trying to, they're trying so hard to fit in. This is something that they would have done before having the child, but no, they are usually not ready until the child is here, and then they start looking for a way to, some don't even bother learning, and then it starts affecting the child, and then they cannot defend the child. So what is the essence of bringing, having a child is just something very wonderful, something most women or most people would really look forward to, looking forward to protect their own child, having a good time with their child, or making great memories and all that. Then you end up having the child and you are antagonizing, you are chastising the child. You cannot, you are not proud of the child. A whole lot that comes with it. And then the child starts struggling. And it is where the child starts struggling that is the hardest and the most painful part. Because a child is expected to have all the love from the mother, the families, and all that. And then she is not getting all of that. And I have also seen a biracial case that came also out to say that, they thought they were white, not until they are grown and they were, the society also told her that she is not, that she is biracial. Excuse me. So most of them have not done their deconstruction, deconstructing their race decision or working on anti-blackness and all that. And you are jumping to have a child for a black man, It's really, really disgusting, because you cannot bring in a child into the world and you are not ready to be responsible for that child. That is irresponsible, right? So with all things, I have seen, I think I have, there was a time last year or last 2 years that, biracial kids with white mom were all coming out to share their not so great experience about how they were treated by their mothers and also their family. And some of them knew also that their parents do not want someone that looks something else, like, someone like me as a husband to come into their family. Yet they always think that love is enough, or that I'm criticizing this man, I think this is really good for me. And after having the child, it clears up in their eyes. I mean, we all can do better, because there is no need bringing a child, or a soul into the world that you are not ready to take care of. So see you all in my next video. Bye for now.